Hello and welcome to Lesson 2. I hope you've been enjoying everything so far. I have certainly enjoyed reading your introductions and getting to interact with you a little bit. And now I am so excited for our first writing assignment of the semester. As you know, that's going to be resume writing, and to help with this, I've pulled together some hints and some tips to make sure that you are succeeding with this. Now, let's go ahead and get started. As you know, there's no such thing as a resume that's perfect for any job description. But there are certain elements that should always be used no matter what job you're applying for. These 5 elements that I've highlighted here are helpful with any resume. So you want to make sure that you are always doing your research, that you're formatting professionally, using active language, reviewing your relevance, and always proofreading. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a closer look at these things. When it comes to doing your research, the first thing you need to do is thoroughly examine your job posting. You want to make sure that you're familiar with all the details of the job, like where you would be working, what experience is needed, what your responsibilities would be, and all of those kinds of things. And once you know all of these details, make it a point to have your resume answer these questions that the employer is asking whenever possible. The next thing you should do in terms of research is to review resume examples from your industry. You can go to sites like LinkedIn to view the resumes of other professionals who are already in jobs similar to the one that you're applying for. This is very helpful because it can help you get an idea of the type of language you should be using, the type of formatting that's appropriate, and all of those little details that will make a big difference in the end. Our next step is formatting professionally. The format of your resume is in many ways the first impression that you're making on your potential employer. It tells them a little bit about you, so it's very important that your formatting is clean and professional. Here are a few tips to follow with that. You want to make sure that you're using a font that is easy to read, like Arial or Times New Roman. You want to keep that font size to 10 to 12 points in size, nothing too big, nothing too small that makes it hard to read. And then when it comes to your headings and subheadings, it's great to use these and to let them look a little bit different than the body of your text, but you need to be careful not to overdo it. Now, some popular ways to do this are bolding, italicizing, or underlining these headings and subheadings, but when you do this, just make sure you're not using more than one at a time. You don't really want to have a heading bolded and underlined. You want to go ahead and just stick to one. That's usually enough to differentiate. And finally, don't be afraid to use a little bit of color. Something to help set your resume apart from the stack of resumes that they might be receiving for this job posting is a good thing, but you want to do it sparingly. You don't want to go too crazy with the colors because you do want to still appear very professional. Now, let's go ahead to our next point. Use active language. You want to use strong language with your resume, and that means using active language and power words. Here are some examples of power words in the different categories that you really want to convey on your resume. So, accomplishment, responsibility, communication, and leadership. These are very good things to feature on your resume, and these are some power words that you can use for each of those. So take some time to review this, and if you can, incorporate it into your resume, because these are strong words and they will help make your point and help set you apart a little bit. Now next, we need to review relevance. Much like every part of an essay should support a thesis, every part of your resume should support the idea that you are the right person for this job. Here's a little checklist to help you make sure that you're doing that. Ask yourself, does your headline match the job you're applying for? Is your summary concise, focused, and conveying how you're the right person for this job? Are you listing only the skills that make you a good candidate for the job? Usually employers don't need to know if you can whistle or how quickly you can run a mile. Keep it relevant to the job posting. And then finally, does all of the experience that you list show how you've been prepared for this new role? Often our first and even second jobs don't really prepare us for what we want to be our career, so you can feel free to exclude them if they don't make sense for this job position. Finally, we have proofreading. As with anything you'll ever write, be sure to proofread your work thoroughly. Proofreading can be the difference between amateur and professional when it comes to our resumes, so here are a few things that you want to make sure you're checking. Your spelling, your capitalization, your punctuation, your formatting, and then for this assignment, you want to make sure that you are meeting all of the requirements on the rubric as well. Now, I know this is a lot of information to take in and a lot of boxes you need to check and make sure you're incorporating into your resume, so I want to leave you with a relevant spiritual thought here. This is a quote from Lorenzo Snow, and he said, "Do not expect to become perfect at once. If you do, you will be disappointed. Be better today than you were yesterday, and be better tomorrow than you are today." It is really just the point of life to get a little bit better with each day. So even if your resume is not exactly where you want it to be, even if you feel like you'll never catch all of the little mistakes on your own or never find quite the right words, just keep trying. Keep applying yourself and you will be moving in the right direction. And really, that's all we can ask. As long as you're making improvements, as long as you're putting in effort, you're doing what you need to be doing. If you ever need any help with any of this, you'd like a second set of eyes on your resume, or you just have questions, please feel free to reach out. But otherwise, I am so excited to see what you will do with this assignment, and I hope that you'll enjoy it. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.